100 families that originally were in Shannon originally, right? And
Yeah, I don't, of course, I don't remember all the details being that young, but
Yes, sir. It'll be 71 and 4.
all right, it was, like a lot of the people we grew up with, still see every day, not every day, but still see different places around town and all that stuff. So, friends for life. I remember when Dad brought me in here, he said, "Oh yeah, so they got more fireworks than any place in the state." So,
Well, that's still true.
I bet it is.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
so did they have parades back then, or what was the general?
They did. Of course, that was a big deal on Main Street. Going up and looking at the Belk's window, they would decorate for all the different holidays, and then especially Christmas, going up and being a child and seeing all the horses and the floats, and then Santa Claus, of course, at the end. And so that was wild. And then when we got older, we did the same thing with our children. We'd take them up, for the Christmas parade and doing all those kind of things.
How about Divine Street and Five Points? Was that as active back then, or is that not
Five
quite?
Points was wonderful because when we lived over on Watery, when we got old enough, we could walk down to Five Points, and it didn't have it wasn't the bars and things there. It was mostly restaurants and shops, and Zesto was down there, and Five Points movie theater. And so especially on Saturdays, we'd all either walk or ride our bicycles and go down to Five Points, and they usually had cartoons or Tarzan movies or Western movies, that kind of thing. And some Saturdays, you could get in with 10 Coca-Cola tops. It was sponsored by Dunkin' Yo-Yos and Coca-Cola, and you go there and they have people would come out and do yo-yo tricks and all that stuff, and then we'd watch Tarzan movie or whatever, and then go over to Zesto and eat and walk back home. So it was great. Yeah.
How much were the hamburgers back then?
Oh gosh, the hamburgers were 15 cents, and so for a quarter you could get a hamburger and a Coke, and no tax. Then you had to spend at least $1 to have tax. so it was pretty good, and so it was pretty cheap morning. You go to get in for 10 Coca-Cola caps and for the movie, and then a quarter for lunch, and that's all you had. That's your allowance for the week. It was gone.
That was it.
Yep.
So how was Rosewood back then? I know the city kind of ended right at Kilburn Road, and that was the extent. So this was almost
Rosewood, it hasn't changed all that much. A few things have come and gone. Of course, there was the hardware store and a drugstore and those kind of things. But Rosewood is kind of the same feel and look that it was when we were little. So that's kind of nice. And with being on Haywood Street now, we live just a block and a half off of Rosewood, so we go to Publix and all those kind of places, and so we.
What do you think about the new Starbucks?
Well, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't frequent Starbucks, but other people seem to like it. Seems like it's just doing well. Hopefully it is. That we still go to the dairy bar, get a hamburger and all that kind of stuff up there on Rosewood.
So do you remember the store that Jim Casey had? I guess back then there weren't a lot of convenience stores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, barely. But I couldn't describe it. But yeah, that's something new. The pharmacies and the convenience stores, and I don't remember all the filling stations like they are now, being on Rosewood. So
How's it going, sir?
I guess there were some other kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was a good place to grow up. Really good place.
Yeah, our family was originally on Monroe Street,
Mm-hmm.
and so we were part of, I think close to one of the first 100 families that lived there.
Yeah, yeah.
And my grandmother's father had the second laundry in South Carolina.
Okay, how about
And
that?
my dad would ride around with him on the horse and buggy, and he had laundry, so he had white suit and white hat, and everything was pressed.
Yeah. Oh man, that's neat. Yeah.
They service all the hotels and the different.
Well, I think I'm not sure about this, but I think my father may have been Mr. Casey's doctor, John Holler, up on Pickens Street, and so I think that's how he got introduced to the Casey's fireworks, and as I think that's correct, but I'm not absolutely sure about that.
Because I think that was my grandmother's side of the family.
Okay, all right.
And then her, I remember her. I guess that must have been her great grandfather was Ferdinand, and they had a house that was built. That it was, like I said, it was at the top near Pickens, they're close to where Woodrow Wilson's boyhood home and all that. So he had his shop there.
Yeah, his office was on Pickens Street, 1226 Pickens, right across from Dunbar Funeral Home. I mean, not right across, but pretty, across the street, down the street, just a half block maybe, something like that.
Yeah, I think that was walking distance for them. So
Oh, yeah.
I think that was one of their.
Yeah.
There was another doctor that was in that same. Did he move like closer to Pickens? Or?
No, he always was in that same office. My cousin David Holler was an orthopedic doctor, and those are the only two Hollers that I know about that were doctors here in Columbia.
Do you remember a Dr. Eggleston?
Yep, sure do. Yeah, it's interesting back then. Of course, the medical community was smaller, and so I didn't know them all, of course, but I knew most of the names I knew, from my dad talking about them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How's it going, sir?
I think Eggleston was actually their.
What you looking for?
It's more like
I got most of it.
All right, cool.
I guess it would have been the PD.
Ready to go?
Pediatrician?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right. That's right.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.